and greetings, my friend, to another episode of the Red Delta Project YouTube channel with another video to help you break free of the diet and exercise rat race. I'm Matt Schifferle, and today is a video sparked by a question I got on the email the other day saying, what is, or are there any kind of universal methods that are relatively low cost to a high return? Which is a very smart question to be asking, because ultimately we often think of this fitness thing as being a physical endeavor, right? It's about muscle, it's about fat, it's about nervous system, it's about what we're physically doing. But the fact of the matter is that is only a fraction of what fitness really is. When I was doing research and writing my latest book, Be Fit and Live Free, one of the most important lessons I learned from that was understanding that fitness is first and foremost a human endeavor, which, yes, we humans have a physical body, so that's certainly an important part of it, but all of the other things that make us human, including our feelings, emotions, the psychology of human behavior, that is just as, if not more important to your results as anything else. And that's why I wrote the chapter on motivation, is that basically our motivation and what we do when it comes to diet and exercise boils down not to what's most effective, but what is the most worthwhile. In other words, what habits are going to produce the best return for the lowest perceived cost. It doesn't matter how effective your diet and exercise program is. If the cost is relatively high or too high for you to sustain it, you simply won't stick to it, regardless of how much you want the results, regardless of your discipline, regardless of anything else. Fitness is much more of a game of personal economics rather than just knowing the science between building muscle and losing body fat, which is why the question posed of, are there methods out there that are universally or generally low cost to high reward that we can just kind of observe and say, yeah, this is the best way to approach diet and exercise and everything like that? Because when it comes to getting the best possible results, it's not about what's most effective according to science. It's about what is the easiest, lowest cost way for you to have the biggest possible influence over the fundamental processes that are governing your outcomes. The process of nutrition, the process of exercise and stimulation, and the process, of course, of motivation. So basically, anything out there that is low cost to high return is going to be the most effective. So that got me asking, Enzo here is really questioning, like, okay, so then I started thinking, well, obviously, a lot of things. I mean, that's what the Delta and Red Delta Project is all about, is simplicity, efficiency. That's what's going to be most effective. But the thing about that chapter about motivation is that it's not about absolute costs or absolute results. It's about personal and perceived costs and benefits versus what you're investing into it. And then I thought, well, suspension straps, for example. These are a weight machine that fits in your pocket. They're super inexpensive, they're super affordable, very versatile. So these are obviously a very low cost, high return thing. But that only depends if you know how to use them. If you don't know how to properly set up, engage, and utilize suspension straps, then you're actually much better off using an actual weight machine or bands or kettlebells or whatnot. And even these two, like, what about making your own versus buying something like from Nosk? And it never fails. Whenever I post a video of DIY, people in the comment section will be like, this is stupid. Why in the world would I bother making a suspension setup when I just go out and buy one? And then I'll do a review on something commercially available, and they're like, that's ridiculous. Why in the world would I buy one when I can just make one for pennies on the dollar? Which brings me to the big lesson for today's video, is that remember that when it comes to low cost to high return, that's going to be different for everybody according to a number of influences. It depends on your resources, it depends on your circumstances, it depends on your proficiencies, what you're good at, what you're used to, hell, just what you enjoy. I always said it, I don't care what you know about nutrition and fat loss. Your results depend far more on how you feel about eating donuts and going to the gym than what you actually know and understand the science behind eating donuts and going to the gym. Because fundamentally, we humans are emotional creatures first, logical creatures second. And this is why understanding this simple aspect of human behavior and why it's so individualistic is so vitally important. Maybe I'm a little naive about this sort of thing, but I really truly believe that most people are going to do a hell of a lot better job figuring out the best way for them individually to eat right and exercise than following any sort of plan or program out there, including my own. Society and everything, especially the internet and stuff, doesn't encourage you to be disciplined and to think independently. It encourages you to be obedient and follow someone else's plan, which is great at times, especially if you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know what to do. It's like, okay, here's a plan, follow it. But keeping in mind that your best results, your best life, in fact, are going to come from the plan and stuff that you custom create for yourself. In other words, what's going to be the best way for you to have a big influence on those fundamental processes at a relatively low cost for you? And that's going to be different for everybody. Some of you are going to say, oh yeah, it's way easier for me to make my own suspension straps than to buy one. That's ridiculous. But then again, you could be like, yeah, but I'm a busy guy. I've got the funds. NOSC is not expensive. It's like $50 a setup. It's nothing. It's a lot easier for me to just put down a credit card number of 5 minutes on a website and just get it delivered to me. So that's why the recommendation I have is just do whatever is easiest for you. If it's easier for you to have meal delivery versus meal prep, then go with meal delivery. If it's easier for meal prep than meal delivery, well, then do that. It's not about what is the best or the optimal according to science. It's about you observing your own life, your circumstances, your resources, your preferences and stuff, and just understanding like what's the easiest way for me to have the biggest influence on those fundamental processes. And it doesn't matter what the science says. If the science says running is more effective for burning calories than mountain biking, that does not matter one iota to me. Because I'm going to be mountain biking a hell of a lot more than running just because that's easier and more rewarding for me. Therefore, it's going to be more effective than running. So know thyself, my friend. Do what's easiest for you to have the biggest influence, and that's going to be the most effective way for you to go about having the results that you want. More stuff here if you want to check out more about my fundamental approach to fitness. Love to hear your thoughts down below. Be fit and live free.